Chunky Sutta with chunky. Thus have I heard. This one also is interesting. On one occasion, the Blessed One was wandering in the Kosalan country with a large sangha of monks, and eventually he arrived at a Kosalan Brahmin village named Upasada. There the Blessed One stayed in the God's Grove, the Sala tree grove to the north of Upasada. On that occasion, the Brahmin Chunky was ruling over Upasada, crown property abounding in living beings, rich in grasslands, woodlands, waterways and grain, a royal endowment, a sacred grant given to him by King Pasenadi of Kosala. Stop here for a moment. So this is another famous Brahmin, and he's given all this property, Upasada, so he's ruling over it like a sultan or something, and this was given to him by the king. The Brahmin householders of Upasada heard the recluse Gautama, this description of this Buddha, where they praise the Buddha for being an Arahant and all that. And it's good to see such Arahants. Then the Brahmin householders of Upasada set forth from Upasada in groups and bands and headed northwards to the God's Grove, the Sala tree grove. On that occasion, the Brahmin Chunky had retired to the upper story of his mansion for his midday rest. There he saw the Brahmin householders of Upasada setting forth from Upasada in groups and bands and heading northwards to the God's Grove, the Sala tree grove. When he saw them, he asked his minister, "Good minister, why are the Brahmin householders of Upasada setting forth from Upasada in groups and bands and heading northwards to the God's Grove, the Sala tree grove?" "Sir, there is the recluse Gautama, the son of the Sakyans, who went forth from the Sakyan clan, who has been wandering in the Kosalan country," etc., etc. They are going to see that Master Gautama. Then, good minister, go to the Brahmin householders of Upasada and tell them, "Sirs, the Brahmin Chunky says this. Please wait, sirs. The Brahmin Chunky will also go to see the recluse Gautama." "Yes, sir," the minister replied. And he went to the Brahmin householders of Upasada and gave them the message. Now on that occasion, 500 Brahmins from various states were staying at Upasada for some business or other. They heard the Brahmin Chunky, the Brahmin Chunky, it is said, is going to see the recluse Gautama. Then they went to the Brahmin Chunky and asked him, "Sir, is it true that you are going to see the recluse Gautama?" "So it is, sirs, I am going to see the recluse Gautama." And they said, "Sir, do not go to see the recluse Gautama. It is not proper, Master Chunky, for you to go and see the recluse Gautama. Rather, it is proper for the recluse Gautama to come and see you. For you, sir, are well born on both sides, of pure maternal and paternal descent, 7 generations back, unassailable and impeccable in respect of birth. Since that is so, Master Chunky, it is not proper for you to go to see the recluse Gautama. Rather, it is proper for the recluse Gautama to come to see you. You, sir, are rich, with great wealth and great possessions. You, sir, are a master of the 3 Vedas, with their vocabularies, liturgy, phonology, and etymology, and the histories as a 5th. Skilled in philology and grammar, you are fully versed in natural philosophy and in the marks of a great man. You, sir, are handsome, comely, and graceful, possessing supreme beauty of complexion, with sublime beauty and sublime presence, remarkable to behold. You, sir, are virtuous, mature in virtue, possessing mature virtue. You, sir, are a good speaker with a good delivery. You speak words that are courteous, distinct, flawless, and communicate the meaning. You, sir, teach the teachers of many, and you teach a recitation of the hymns to 300 Brahmin students. You, sir, are honored, respected, revered, venerated, and esteemed by King Pasenadi of Kosala. You, sir, are honored, respected, revered, venerated, and esteemed by the Brahmin Pokara Sati. You, sir, rule over Upasada, a crown property abounding in living beings, etc., a sacred grant given to you by King Pasenadi of Kosala. Since this is so, Master Chunky, it is not proper for you to go to see the recluse Gautama. Rather, it is proper for the recluse Gautama to come to see you. Stop here for a moment. So here, these 500 Brahmins, having come from other states, and they heard that this famous Brahmin Chanki was going to visit the Buddha, they were not happy because they think they are the superior caste. Somebody like the Buddha, they say they consider inferior, and they think that the Buddha should come to this Chanki instead of Chanki going to see him. When this was said, the Brahmin Chanki told those Brahmins, "Now, sirs, hear from me why it is proper for me to go to see Master Gotama, and why it is not proper for Master Gotama to come to see me. Sirs, the recluse Gotama is well born on both sides, of pure maternal and paternal descent, 7 generations back, unassailable and impeccable in respect of birth. Since this is so, sirs, it is not proper for Master Gotama to come to see me. Rather, it is proper for me to go to see Master Gotama. Sirs, the recluse Gotama went forth, abandoning much gold and bullion stored away in vaults and depositories. Sirs, the recluse Gotama went forth from the home life into homelessness while still young, a black-haired young man endowed with the blessing of youth, in the prime of life. Sirs, the recluse Gotama shaved off his hair and beard, put on the yellow robe, and went forth from the home life into homelessness, though his mother and father wished otherwise, and wept with tearful faces. Sirs, the recluse Gotama is handsome, comely and graceful, possessing supreme beauty of complexion, and with sublime beauty and sublime presence, remarkable to behold. Sirs, the recluse Gotama is virtuous, with noble virtue, with wholesome virtue, possessing wholesome virtue. Sirs, the recluse Gotama is a good speaker with a good delivery. He speaks words that are courteous, distinct, flawless, and communicate the meaning. Sirs, the recluse Gotama is a teacher of the teachers of many. Sirs, the recluse Gotama is free from sensual lust and is without personal vanity. Sirs, the recluse Gotama holds the doctrine of the moral efficacy of action, the doctrine of the moral efficacy of deeds. He does not seek any harm for the line of Brahmins. Sirs, the recluse Gotama went forth from an aristocratic family, from one of the original noble families. Sirs, the recluse Gotama went forth from a rich family, from a family of great wealth and great possessions. Sirs, people come from remote kingdoms and remote districts to question the recluse Gotama. Sirs, many thousands of deities have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gotama. Sirs, a good report of the recluse Gotama has been spread to this effect. That blessed one is Arahant, Sammasambuddha, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, knower of worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. Sirs, the recluse Gotama possesses the 32 marks of a great man. Sirs, King Senior Bimbisara of Magadha and his wife and children have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gotama. Sirs, King Pasenadi of Kosala and his wife and children have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gotama. Sirs, the Brahmin Pokarasati and his wife and children have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gotama. Sirs, the recluse Gotama has arrived at Upasada and is living at Upasada in the God's Grove, the Sala Tree Grove to the north of Upasada. Now any recluses or Brahmins that come to our town are our guests, and guests should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated by us. Since the recluse Gotama has arrived at Upasada, he is our guest, and as our guest should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated by us. Since that is so, sirs, it is not proper for Master Gotama to come to see me. Rather, it is proper for me to go to see the Master Gotama. And they said, sirs, this much is the praise of Master Gotama that I have learned. But the praise of Master Gotama is not limited to that, for the praise of Master Gotama is immeasurable. Since Master Gotama possesses each of these factors, it is not proper for him to come to see me. Rather, it is proper for me to go to see Master Gotama. Therefore, sirs, let all of us go to see the recluse Gotama. Then the Brahmin Chanki, together with a large company of Brahmins, went to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side. Stop here for a moment. So even though he has heard and believes that the Buddha is an Arahant, Sammasambuddha, still maybe because of their pride, maybe they think that the Brahmins are superior. He didn't pay homage to the Buddha, just exchanged greetings with the Buddha and sat down. Now on that occasion, the Blessed One was seated, finishing some amiable talk with some very senior Brahmins. At the time, sitting in the assembly was a Brahmin student named Kapatika, young, shaven-headed, 16 years old. He was a master of the three Vedas with their vocabularies, liturgy, phonology and etymology, and the histories as a fifth. Skilled in philology and grammar, he was fully versed in natural philosophy and the marks of the great man. While the very senior Brahmins were conversing with the Blessed One, he often broke in and interrupted their talk. Then the Blessed One rebuked the Brahmin student Kapatika thus: "Let not the Venerable Bharadvaja break in and interrupt the talk of the very senior Brahmins while they are conversing. Let the Venerable Bharadvaja wait until the talk is finished." When this was said, the Brahmin Chanki said to the Blessed One, "Let not Master Gotama rebuke the Brahmin student Kapatika. The Brahmin student Kapatika is a clansman. He is very learned. He has a good delivery. He is wise. He is capable of taking part in this discussion with Master Gotama." Then the Blessed One thought, "Surely, since the Brahmins honor him thus, the Brahmin student Kapatika must be accomplished in the scriptures of the three Vedas." Then the Brahmin student Kapatika thought, "When the recluse Gotama catches my eye, I shall ask him a question." Then, knowing with his own mind the thought in the Brahmin student Kapatika's mind, the Blessed One turned his eye towards him. Then the Brahmin student Kapatika thought, "The recluse Gotama has turned towards me. Suppose I ask him a question." Then he said to the Blessed One, "Master Gotama, in regard to the ancient Brahmanic hymns that have come down through oral transmission and in the scriptural collections, the Brahmins come to the definite conclusion, only this is true, anything else is wrong. What does Master Gotama say about this?" I stop here for a moment. So here is asking the Buddha that according to our tradition, all the Brahmanic hymns that we chant, only this is true. Anything else of other religions is wrong. Just like some people of certain religions, they think that only their religion is the correct one, all other religions are wrong. How then, Bharadvaja, among the Brahmins, is there even a single Brahmin who says thus, "I know this, I see this, only this is true, anything else is wrong"? No, Master Gotama. How then, Bharadvaja, among the Brahmins, is there even a single teacher or a single teacher's teacher back to the seventh generation of teachers who says thus, "I know this, I see this, only this is true, anything else is wrong"? No, Master Gotama. In other words, the Buddha is asking whether any one of these Brahmin teachers, they know directly that this is true. They see for themselves. That means implying psychic power, that they know and see all this directly by themselves. And he says no. How then, Bharadvaja, the ancient Brahmin seers, the creators of the hymns, the composers of the hymns, whose ancient hymns that were formerly chanted, uttered and compiled, the Brahmins nowadays still chant and repeat, repeating what was spoken and reciting what was recited, that is, Ataka, Vamaka, Vamadeva, Vesamita, Yamatagi, Angirasa, Bharadvaja, Vaseta, Kasapa and Bagu. Did even these ancient Brahmin seers say thus, "We know this, we see this, only this is true, anything else is wrong"? No, Master Gotama. Stop here for a moment. You see here, the Buddha can quote to them the ancient Brahmin seers, those who created the hymns. And he can mention all these names, Ataka, Vamaka, Vamadeva, Vesamita, etc. Probably many of these Brahmins don't even know who were these ancestors of theirs. So the Buddha said, these ancient Brahmin seers say that they know directly, they see directly this. Only their hymns are correct, everybody else is wrong. And they say no, and he said, "No, Master Gotama." So Bharadvaja, it seems that among the Brahmins there is not even a single Brahmin who says thus, "I know this, I see this, only this is true, anything else is wrong." And among the Brahmins, there is not even a single teacher or a single teacher's teacher, back to the 7th generation of teachers, who says thus, I know this, I see this, only this is true, anything else is wrong. And the ancient Brahmin seers, the creators of the hymns, the composers of the hymns, whose ancient hymns that were formerly chanted, uttered and compiled, the Brahmins nowadays still chant and repeat, that is Attaka, Vamaka, etc. Even these ancient Brahmin seers did not say thus, we know this, we see this, only this is true, anything else is wrong. Suppose there were a file of blind men, each in touch with the next. The first one does not see, the middle one does not see, the last one does not see. So too, Bharadvaja, in regard to their statement, the Brahmins seem to be like a file of blind men. First one does not see, the middle one does not see, the last one does not see. What do you think, Bharadvaja? That being so, does not the faith of the Brahmins turn out to be groundless? Stop here for a moment. So you can see here, in front of many hundreds of these Brahmins, the Buddha is putting them down, saying that you Brahmins, you claim only your teaching is true, but your teachers, all of you are like blind men, one leading, following the one in front, but all are blind, not even a single one of you have seen this truth directly and know directly. This is quite a statement to make in front of several hundred Brahmins who are so arrogant about their caste. Then he said, the Brahmins honor this not only out of faith, Master Gotama, they also honor it as oral tradition. And the Buddha said, Bharadvaja, first you took your stand on faith, now you speak of oral tradition. There are 5 things, Bharadvaja, that may turn out in 2 different ways here and now. What 5? Faith, approval, oral tradition, reason, cogitation, and reflective acceptance of a view. These 5 things may turn out in 2 different ways here and now. Now something may be fully accepted out of faith, yet it may be empty, hollow, and false. But something else may not be fully accepted out of faith, yet it may be factual, true, and unmistaken. Again, something may be fully approved of, or may be well cogitated, may be well reflected upon, yet it may be empty, hollow, and false. But something else may not be well reflected upon, yet it may be factual, true, and unmistaken. Under these conditions, it is not proper for a wise man who preserves truth to come to the definite conclusion, only this is true, anything else is wrong. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha anticipated that he was probably going to bring up all the other things. So the Buddha told him there are 5 things. You can take your stand on faith as you originally did, or you can take your stand on oral tradition, and there are 3 more. You can take your stand on reason, cogitation, or approval or reflective acceptance of a view. But any one of these 5, the Buddha says, it may be true or it may be false. So even before he has brought up all the others, the Buddha already told him all these are possible. Then he said, but Master Gotama, in what way is there the preservation of truth? How does one preserve truth? We asked Master Gotama about the preservation of truth. So you see the last sentence of the Buddha said, under these conditions, it is not proper for a wise man who preserves truth to come to the definite conclusion, only this is true, anything else is wrong. So this young Brahmin, he realized that he could not argue with the Buddha. So he stops arguing here and he wants to learn from the Buddha. He humbles himself and asks the Buddha, in what way is there a preservation of truth? Since the Buddha mentioned about the wise man who preserves truth, then he asked how to preserve truth. And the Buddha said, if a person has faith, Bharadvaja, he preserves truth when he says, my faith is thus, but he does not yet come to the definite conclusion, only this is true, anything else is wrong. In this way, Bharadvaja, there is the preservation of truth. In this way, he preserves truth. In this way, we describe the preservation of truth, but as yet there is no discovery of truth. Similarly, if a person approves of something, or if he receives an oral tradition, or he reaches a conclusion based on reasoned cogitation, or if he gains a reflective acceptance of a view, he preserves truth when he says, my reflective acceptance of a view is thus, but he does not yet come to the definite conclusion, only this is true, anything else is wrong. In this way too, Bharadvaja, there is preservation of truth. In this way he preserves truth. In this way we describe the preservation of truth. But as yet there is no discovery of truth. So Buddha explained to him what is meant by preservation of truth. But the Buddha says, at this point, there's still no discovery of truth.